How is Omicron going to affect home buying in 2022? Let's talk about first everyone's prediction in 2022. Everyone's prediction in 22, interest rates were going to go up and prices were going to go down. Why is that? So if people have to qualify to buy a home and interest rates went up, people qualify for less homes. So if there's less people who can qualify for a home, eventually prices will cap off and come down. So that's what a lot of people were waiting for to buy in 2022. I don't think prices would come down. The trajectory that they were going up, of course, that can't happen forever, would probably slow down, allow people to make different decisions to buy a house. So if you bought a house in 2021 or 2020 and you're thinking, oh, is the market going to crash? Did I waste my money buying a home? No. Right now, we are in the lowest history recorded of inventory. So there's still a lack of inventory. So if rates do go up, it's just going to slow down the speed of the housing market going up. So this is why everyone predicted 2022 rates were going to go up. Jerome Powell, my boy Jerome. Here is the original plan. The original plan for 2022, Jerome Powell was supposed to increase the Fed rates so the economy can recover. What do I mean by the economy recovery? Inflation is out of control. Look at gas prices. On a Friday night or Saturday night, you're going out, grabbing dinner with your family. It's over $100 now, or maybe tapping at that $100. It's crazy right now. Whoever doesn't think it's crazy, you're the crazy one. So the way feds control inflation, they raise the Fed fund rate. Right now, the Fed fund rate is at a quarter. What is the Fed fund rate? It's the rate the central banks loan out money. Imagine if you are spending, right? You might be, well, I'm paying cash. Well, wherever you're spending money at, they're borrowing money. It's like a trickle down. If they borrow money to make something to sell to you, they got to increase the prices. But if the feds were loaning out money with a very low rate, money's not increasing. So cost is not increasing. That's why everyone's spending and spending. They printed a bunch of money, everyone's spending, and it's like you're buying something at cost. And that can't happen forever because that's why spending is out of control. They're raising the Fed fund rate. So Jerome Powell's like, we need to put a stop to this. Look at the guy's face. I would be that stressed out too when the whole world is in my hand. So they are going to announce this week, sometime in December, I think this Wednesday, when the feds meet, I want you guys to pay attention. If the feds increase the Fed fund rate from a quarter up an eighth or another quarter, things are going to change. It's not going to happen in December. They say if it does happen, it should happen January or sometime in August. But if it does happen with the speculations, you will see things change. If the feds raise the fund rate, the new issued bonds will go up, which will drive up interest rates. So when the 10-year bond goes up, I want you guys to understand this. The 10-year bond competes with mortgage-backed securities. So if they raise the 10-year bond rate, the new rates, the mortgage bonds would have to compete with it. If you were an investor, if the mortgage bond rates were high, and if interest rates, if mortgage-backed securities weren't paying higher returns, why would I want to buy it? So of course they have to increase the rate to compete with mortgage-backed securities to compete with the 10-year bond. So Jerome Powell's like, you know what? This economy has to recover somehow. We need to stop this inflation from going crazy. We need to raise the Fed fund rate. They're going to talk about it in December. It's supposed to happen sometime January and August. One more thing. So the Fed fund rates control the money, the rate money's being borrowed at. So that's one way they control inflation. The second way, they're tapering off buying mortgage-backed securities. Right now, when the banks buy mortgage-backed securities, they free up money for the banks to keep loaning out money. So if they back off from buying mortgage-backed security, that means these loans aren't being bought by the government. It ties up their money. So for example, if you had a credit card that wasn't being purchased every day or they weren't clearing the credit card, you have money stuck. So if you have that money stuck, you can't go out and lend out more money because your credit card is full. So the government is doing it two ways in 2022. That was the plan, was to raise the Fed rate and taper mortgage-backed securities. It says right here, the feds right now are buying $120 billion in government-backed bonds each month. 80 billion in treasuries and 40 billion in mortgage-backed securities. And they announced they're going to taper off because of all this speculation. That's why you were seeing rates rise. So that was the plan for 2022. Like I said, because of their announcements of raising the Fed fund rate, buying back mortgage securities, the goal was for rates to go up and for prices to slow down. But Omicron is happening. Like I said, in California, a mandate starting Wednesday, mandatory mask. What's going to happen next? Remember, for every action, there's a reaction. So if Omicron is being taken more serious in the United States or wherever you're at, it's going to start a trickle-down effect. You can have one thing happen and another thing not happen. And this is what could happen. History can repeat itself. Travel bans. As you guys see in other countries, travel bans are back up internationally and locally. And locally, they're making it hard to go somewhere because they want you to be vaccinated or proof that, you tested negative. That kind of would slow down people to want to travel. Lockdowns, curfews, right? A lot of that. So if mandating in restaurants in California, indoor, not restaurants, just Anything indoor, malls, anything indoor, you gotta wear a mandate, you gotta wear a mask. So you have some people who are gonna wear masks. Some people are like, you know what, I'm gonna stay home, order DoorDash, I'm gonna stay home, order through Amazon. Why leave the house? It's gonna cause people to be depressed again, to be indoors. I was like, again, right? When I heard the news first, it's like, again? So because of that, it's really gonna change the way people think. Curfews, people might not go out at night and spend money. People are going back out to bars, restaurants. I feel like retail is gonna be really affected with all these lockdowns. Because of all that, like I said, for every action, there's a reaction. So if history repeats itself, travel ban, international, locally, it's going to cause international money. So slow down. Lockdown is going to cause local money to slow down. The stock market may be affected. So the stock market is affected. People pull their money out of the stock market and they put it in bonds. We don't know what's going to happen. Typically, when you pull the money out of the market, you put it back in bonds, but now they're raising the issuing of 10-year bonds, issuing the rate. So things are going to change. Unemployment, all these retailers, if this Omicron becomes more serious, more cases start spiking up, it's going to affect unemployment. But like I said before, with unemployment, a lot of people on unemployment before in the first COVID-19, who got laid off, who quit their job, who couldn't find work, they weren't homeowners. So we don't know this time, are they going to be homeowners or non-homeowners? Typically retail people, not a lot of them will own homes. So if retail don't see unemployment affecting mortgages like people think it did, and mortgage forbearance. Will mortgage forbearance come back? The banks are cry all day long, but they made a lot of money with rates being at all-time low. With the government buying mortgage-backed securities, rates were an all-time low. Think about this. Loan Depot, United Wholesale, all these companies went public during the pandemic. Rates were an all-time low. People were refinancing out the yin-yang. Rates were an all-time low. There's tons of equity. People are refinancing like they were before because rates went up, because we're going to have this cheap money forever. But if this happens again, this is what I think is going to happen. Jerome Powell can't bring up the rates. He has to bring up rates. If he doesn't bring up rates, our economy, I don't think, can withstand any more inflation. He cannot bring up rates. But if Omicron sticks around, I'm sure Uncle Joey and Aunt Kamala probably going to go, hey, don't raise the rates. Things aren't looking good. The Democrats I'm not picking a side. Democrats just took office. We cannot have it crash on our watch. Maybe on Trump or the next guy, girl, but not on us. We need a Jerome, pump your brakes. Don't raise rates. He has to, though, if he wants to save this world, because everything focuses on the United States economy. But things have to change. So when the feds meet, the Fed rates are either stay or they will decrease. If they stay, rates will stay the same. But if they decrease, rates will drop. So for those of you, when you guys watch on Wednesday, or they announce this week, if they're going to start putting together a plan to raise the rates, they're not going up in December, but they're going to talk about plans on how they're going to raise the Fed rate. And when they start talking about how they're going to raise the Fed rates, you know rates will go up. But if they announce, because of Omicron, because of the lockdown, because everything that's going on, we're not making any plans to raise the Fed rate. If they say that, we're going to repeat 2021. Rates will kind of stay or drop, which means if you bought a home the last 4 to 5 months and you got a 3, a 2 might pop up. I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying, for every action, there's a reaction. So if Jerome doesn't increase the Fed rate, I think rates will drop. Stay the same. I think it's going to drop if he doesn't raise the Fed rate. But 90% chance he should. Of course, some guys, please don't raise it, right? Everyone wants a different situation to happen. If he does that, and if people stop spending, people stop going out, it's not going to motivate people to spend to keep the economy going. So that's where he's at right now. It's the only way to continue to let people spend is to either leave it alone or drop the rates. But we can't do that. So if Omicron starts getting worse, you have more cases. It's getting worse and worse. Mortgage rates will stay the same or go down, and prices will go up faster. It's at the same speed it was right now. Everyone announced in 2022, because before Omicron, everyone started making their videos on YouTube, making their channels, announcing, prices are going to flatten out. They're going to be steady because rates are going to go up. We have low inventory, but rates are going to climb so high that's going to not motivate people to buy a home. If this Omicron starts growing and getting worse, history will repeat itself, right? Rates will stay low. So if you got something in the 3s, you might be able to get away with a 2. If you got something in the 2 and you didn't want to refinance because you didn't want something in the 3, you might be able to refinance and stay the 2s. We still have tons of equity. But one thing we won't have a crash. There's such a lack of inventory right now. It's a record low amount of inventory on the market for sale. 37% of Americans own their home free and clear. 63% have mortgages, and most people have over 20% equity. So to see something drastically dip I don't see that. All I can see is Omicron doesn't stay, it's going to be a steady pace. Maybe allow more people to catch up. If it goes away, if Omicron stays, I think it's going to be harder to catch up. Also remember, if the stock market doesn't do well and everyone pulls their money out of the stock market, they're going to go buy either bonds or they buy more houses. I hate to say that. 25% of homes that were bought in the United States were bought by investors. So think about as how good the stock market did. Everyone was to have their money in the stock market. But if it doesn't start looking good, people pull their money out, either buy mortgage bonds, which is safe, or buy more real estate, which is going to crank up this market. So that's what I think is going to happen. So our boy Jerome Powell's got to make a decision. What is important to him? Save the world by increasing interest rates no matter what. Even with Omicron or no Omicron, we got to bring the rates up. If we don't bring the rates up, inflation's going to get out of control or save his job. Leave me a comment below. If you were Jerome, what would you do? Save the world or save your job? Save the world means that everyone's gonna feel it, and that needs to happen, or save your job. I'm sure he's getting a lot of heat from Kamala, Joe, everyone else in office. Like, do not raise the rates. If this Omicron thing sticks, do not raise the rates. It's gonna look like we messed up. Even though they did it, they couldn't prevent it, right? But it's gonna look like they messed up. So that's where we're at. So that's what's gonna happen in 2022. That's my prediction. So my prediction, I did agree with everybody. I think as the Fed rates increase, mortgage bonds rate increase, interest rates increase, as all that increases, people qualify, they have less buying power, which should slow down, not stop, slow down appreciation. I do believe the same thing. But if Omicron sticks it out, like I said, I live in California and I just saw the announcement. There's a mandate in California and it's starting. And I see it also overseas. They're not letting people out of their countries. Traveling from country to country, they're limiting it now. They're making it really hard. Think about this. If it was hard for you to leave your house, would you leave your house? Probably wouldn't. If it's hard for you to go to a restaurant, would you go to a restaurant still? If you had to go somewhere and always wear a mask, some people are okay with it. Some people are not. People got used to not wearing masks again. Mentally, like, hey, doing it again. Now I got to put on a mask again. It's going to limit people to want to do stuff. And because of that, it's going to start a trickle down effect with the stock market, people pulling their money out of the stock market. It's going to change. So that is my prediction. If Omicron goes away, I agree with everyone. If Omicron stays, it's going to be a world of hurt, right? If Jerome doesn't do his job right. Thank you guys once again. We want to end all our live streams with our attitude is gratitude. Without you, there would be no us. So thank you guys so much and have a great day. Hale, reach out to us 714-790-9697. Enjoy your night.